Hi everybody, my name is Robin and welcome to my channel Bird's Eye Stitches. This is a channel about cross stitch, so if you are new here then welcome. I hope you are here because you have a love of cross stitch like I do, and if you're returning then still welcome. Clearly you are here because you have a love of cross stitch like I do. Today is Sunday, it is September 29th, which means we are finishing up September and getting ready to move into October already, which just completely blows my mind. But that's okay. The beginning of the year just kind of scoots by nice and slow, and next thing you know, we're about to go back into New Year's again and the holidays and all that hubbub. So I'm excited for it. We are going to be decorating for Halloween out front this week. A lot of my neighbors have already gotten their Halloween decorations out. I always feel like I want to try to wait till at least October 1st, but I probably should have done it this weekend because October 1st is like day after tomorrow, and then we're into the weekdays, and who has time to put up things on their house during the week? I don't, but we're gonna make it work. So anyway, let's see. Since my last video, I've got some whips to show you guys, just going over all the things that I worked on over this last week. I don't have any finishes, but I did make some good progress on quite a few pieces, so that will be good to show. And then now that I'm getting kind of back into the rhythm with, stitching most nights, and I'm now back in the rhythm of planning, which is great because if you've been watching me or if you know me at all, then you know that I love planning almost as much as I like stitching. Actually, I think stitching is my favorite, putting away the project. So after you're done stitching the project and then you have like your leftover floss that you get to like wind up on the bobbins and reorganize it all in its containers, that's my second favorite thing. Third is planning, and then at the very, very end is starting. I actually really dislike starting new projects. I don't know. I like pulling all this stuff, but actually like putting the fabric on the Q-snap and measuring it and making sure that everything's laid out properly, it's like I have no patience for that part. So if I can just find a stitching partner who will prep and start my projects, then I don't know. Maybe if I win the lottery or something, that would be fun, right? I could find someone for that. Until then, I'm getting better at the measuring of my fabric, and I actually started a piece over this last week, which you guys will see, and I have 2 more on the near horizon to start just as soon as I get my order from Garan. Okay. I had a couple good comments on my video from last week. So number 1, Mandy Parker. Mandy Parker does Flosstube videos. I think, Mandy, is your Flosstube channel named just Mandy Parker? I think that it is. I'll try to link it below once I post this. But anyway, she went online and she saw that on Amazon, what I refer to as the shooting star, which kind of looks like a little magic wand right here. But this official name, thank you Mandy, is a tail end weaver. Tail end weaver. That is a much more official name than the shooting star. And if I start calling it that, then that means that if I ever break this one, I won't have to buy another one that has a star. So thank you for that. I also heard from my friend Chelsea, Chelsea Olish, I think. But Chelsea, she is a fantastic human. She stitches all kinds of nature. She loves to stitch animals, and she stitches full coverage, regular coverage, all the things. But she commented about my trip to Buc-ee's because she loves just the sheer amount of like beef jerky and all the stuff that is in there. So if you have not been to a Buc-ee's, if you ever go to one, just be prepared because she's absolutely right. The beef jerky wall was like the size of my bird wall, which is like this whole room. It's like 3 of those. It was ginormous. They also had an area in there where you could try the beef jerky, kind of like when you're at the deli. You go to the deli and you have like deli meat and chicken fingers. I don't know why that came to mind, but they have all that stuff out, right? And you can try it. Well, we actually got to try samples of beef jerky. So I tried a couple. We didn't end up buying any beef jerky. We ended up getting like nuts and, we bought a lot of other things. it was the end of the trip, and to be honest, all I really wanted after being in the South for a few days was vegetables, so beef jerky was like not my friend. But I did try it and it was excellent, and if we ever go to another Buc-ee's, for sure we'll be picking some up. So that was fun just to kind of read about her adventures there at Buc-ee's. And then Sherry Stitches, who, I know she watches my channel. She's super nice. She also went to Stitching in the Wild, and she made a comment about how her and her table, they also picked up the Witch's Hearth piece, and that is the piece that her table decided to start. So where my table started Ghost Pumpkin, hers did Witch's Hearth, and they have a genius idea of stitching it and getting it, semi-close to a finish, right? Just with the goal of either being able to finish it at Stitching in the Wild or stitch it and before the next Stitching of the Wild so they can bring that to show. So I think that is a great idea. I don't know if I will get my Witch's Hearth completed by that time, but I do think that I can do that with Ghost Pumpkin because, you guys will see where I am right now, and it's got quite a lot of time over this next month on my acrostic. Okay, let's see. Moving away my comments, but anyway, all those comments are really fun to read. I do try to reply to all of them. I don't get a whole bunch, which is good because that means that they are manageable and I can reply to everybody, but I just really enjoy reading them because it's how I get to know all of you guys, which is like the main purpose of this channel. So, all right, what did I stitch on? First one up, I've got just a small stack here next to me. So first one up is my Alessandra Adelaide piece, which is New Year in the Village. Will one day look like this. Last time you guys saw this, I had finished all of these. You couldn't see them because they're hiding, they're wrapped around in the Q-snap. I have this whole green, it's like a Whoville clock home. If I was gonna live anywhere in this village, it would be in here because it kind of reminds me of a lighthouse, but I don't know. I just really like the little clock face there. So I have that one done. Then I had stitched these two houses and I had the outline and a little bit of the dark pink done on this pink house here. So that's where it was before. This got 3.5 hours of stitching over this last week. And we are here. So I finished all the rest of the medium pink and the snow over here on the little house. Did all of the light pink fill-in. And then you can see right here, there's 4 stitches that are not done. So the house that is right here has quite a bit of this pale yellow in it. And I did not want to take out another piece of floss to do 4 stitches when I knew that I was going to do 4 stitches here and then turn around and do like a whole bunch right here. So I consider this house done minus those 4 stitches, which will be done next time you see it. But that is where we're at. So all I have left, my goal with this is really to have this one done by January 1st, 2025. I started this as a new year, new start, 2019, 2018, I don't know, many moons ago. It's kind of sat around for years. It comes out here and there, but I'm so close, kind of. There's actually a lot of stitching that needs to happen here. I have this and then I have the big fireworks, but I think I can get it done by the 1st of the year. So in October, I am really gonna try to focus on doing mainly Halloween and fall type pieces, you know, pumpkins, fall, a little bit of Halloween, not so much any Christmas. However, because I have that goal, I do have this piece slotted for just 1 letter on my acrostic. For my acrostic for Magazine Monthly Challenge, I do 2 hours per letter. So it's not a whole lot of time, but it'll get 2 hours worth of work just to keep it in my rotation. And then obviously I'll be stitching on it a lot more come November and December to hopefully finish this by January 1. Now, it will probably not be framed or FFO'd, but if the stitching, including the specialty stitches, I have beads and Krynic. So all of that has to be done by January 1. Otherwise, you know that it will just go back into a bag and I won't touch it again because it has beads and Krynic. So I just want to make sure to get all of that done. It's a lofty goal, but I think it is doable. So that is New Year in the Village. I am stitching this with Called For DMC. The only difference is I am doing mine on Storm. Yes, a piece of fabric called Storm by Fabrics by Stephanie. An opalescent, obviously. And I believe that I'm actually subbing out some of the firework colors to do more silvers and blues, but I don't quite remember because, again, I pulled all this stuff years ago and I haven't done the fireworks yet. So whatever color I have in this bag here, that is the color that I'm stitching my fireworks in. All right, next up is my travel piece. So the piece that I use for travel is either a Mill Hill kit or a ornament piece, something that is on perforated paper, or something that is very few colors and stitched on a like 14 or 16 count Aida. Something that I can easily see and something where I don't have to bring a whole lot of stuff in order to accomplish the stitching. So I use my travel piece not only if we have a road trip or a flight, but also for my Zoom calls. So the Magazine Monthly Challenge, we do one Zoom call a month. We do it on the last Saturday of every month. For me, they start at 9 a.m. Arizona time. I don't know if we're gonna change that up at all for next year. More to come on that later, but from now until the end of the year, if you're part of the Magazine Monthly Challenge Facebook group, then you can always join our Stitchy Zoom call. They run about an hour and a half, and they're a lot of fun. You know, there's not a whole bunch of people on there. To me, it's like the perfect amount of people to where everyone gets to kind of show what they're working on. Everyone can chit chat. You know, no one's talking over each other, which is nice. And it's just a very positive, fun environment. So if you haven't checked that out, I highly recommend it. On this last one, it did go the full hour and a half, but I only stitched for about an hour. I had actually slept in that day, which I never do. And I spent the first 30 minutes just chit-chatting and seeing what everybody else was working on and drinking my coffee, because I do not want to start stitching before I have some coffee in my system. I drink 1 cup a day, but if I don't have my 1 cup, I am not stitching. So, all right. In that hour, I worked on Puppy Present by Satsuma Street. And let me take this out here. I'm not sure why I still have it in the plastic when I also moved it to a bag. Not sure on that, but I'm sure I had a reason at the time. Just don't know what it is. So one day it will look like this. I am nearing the end. We are currently here. So the last time you guys saw this, I had most of this bow done. Well, I had most of this done. So I guess in the last week, I have finished this bow, and then I finished the dark pink striping here, and I did some fill-in right here, which I couldn't tell what the dark blue behind the dog was supposed to be when I looked at it up close and in the pattern. But seeing it far away, I can tell that that's supposed to be like a shadow, right? Like here's the ears, here's the puppy head, and this is like shadow. So totally makes sense. But I just did that little bit. Again, it only got about an hour worth of work. All that is left on this, besides the beads and the sequins, is the blue for the present. So this whole box here now just needs to be filled in. So in theory, that will move fairly quick. I was talking about this on my last video as well as on the Zoom call, but I have at least 2 other ornaments. Maybe this will be number 2. I don't know, but I have other ornaments where I've gotten all of the cross stitches done, but I have not done the beads or the sequins. So I'm going to be putting these into my acrostic once they hit that stage to just start knocking those out. You will not see them in October because I'm going to be working again on fall type items. And I pretty much work on Christmas stuff all year long because I love it, right? Like I love birds, I love trees, I love flowers, and I love Christmas. If it's a mix of all those things, even better. So yeah, so all year long, Christmas and Christmas ornaments, they get a whole lot of love. But Halloween, not my favorite. Fall, not my favorite. I mean, I love fall weather, but fall stuff is kind of eh. So I'm trying to, you know, I own a lot of it, so I want to get a lot of it done so I can use it to decorate and everything else. So with that said, these aren't on my cross stick for this next month, but you're going to see them popping up more just to get beading and sequins and stuff like that done. So this guy here will more than likely be finished this next month or this next week, because I do have a trip out of town this next weekend. I'm flying up to Utah, and so, you know, an hour and a half or so on the flight there, I'll get most of this present done. And then we've got some driving to do while we're in Utah, plus any downtime while I'm with family. I will usually, you know, have a cross stitch here and there. So I'll end up bringing a second one to start just in case I get the cross stitching done on this while I'm out. So you will see this again in the near future. I'm putting this directly in the bag, not in the plastic bag. I love this bag. This is, it's a bag by Crafty Corey Stitches. The size of it is perfect for mill hills and smaller pieces. It's so pretty. Floral pattern is gorgeous, and the colors are my absolute favorite. It's got pinks, it's got teals, it's got yellows. Thumbs up. Love it a lot. It is not Christmassy, but that's okay. Okay, next up is a new start. So this one is also in a Crafty Corey Stitches bag. This one also does not match the piece. My bags never match the piece. Maybe one day. For now, if the piece is in a fancy bag, I'm good with that. But who knows what'll happen in the future. So this is beautiful, nice and bright. Again, bright colors, bring me joy. So this is a new start. This is Witch's Hearth by Fox and Rabbit. I am stitching this one. Where is my tag? Let's see. In my quest to become more organized, minus the wrapper, I filled out my official bag tag here, even though it's not on a Garan bag. But this is Witch's Hearth. It's on 32 count linen by Fox and Rabbit in the color Duxbury, and all the called for DMC. So called for fabric, called for DMC. I kitted this one up at Stitching in the Wild and started it just last week. So we are right. That's upside down. Stand by. There we go. Here. So I have a teeny tiny little bird and then the outline of the lantern right here. I figured this was at least enough of a start to get it ready for October. So this one is on my plans for October. This is on my acrostic 2 times. So for Magazine Monthly Challenge, I'm just gonna throw my plans in as I go if some of these are on my plans list. But Magazine Monthly Challenge, our theme for the month of October is Pumpkin Patch. Our acrostic is Hayride. So this one here is on my acrostic for the letter H for Witch's Hearth, and for the letter, let's see, R for Fox and Rabbit. So this one here will get 4 hours of work next month. And I think because of the way that the pattern is, the piece I'm working on is right here, and it goes into the witch. So originally I thought I'd be doing like the wording and these birds or bats, bird bats, but just to keep it to where I'm working on one page and I have to go between the two, I'm going to be working on probably this rest of this lantern and then coming up into the top of the witch. So that should be really fun. Okay. Looks like I have one more piece that I put some work into over this last week. This is on the Garan bag that I picked up at Stitching in the Wild. And this was the piece that I picked up at Stitching in the Wild, which I can't show you that one because it's the pattern, but I can show you this one. So this is Ghost Pumpkin by Lottie Da. Will one day look like this. It is on the Called For Everything, which is 32 count linen by Weeks Dye Works in the color Confederate Gray, and then all of the floss is just DMC, which is glorious. Although, I will say if you wanted to swap things out, all of this white on the pumpkin would be really fun to do some type of a fancy floss with, or maybe that orange on the flower, also really fun. But I'm doing mine in the Called For DMC because that's what we had at Stitching in the Wild, and they look great against the fabric. So the last time you saw this, I had just started on the border, and this got 3 hours of work, and we are here. No, 4 hours. 4 hours of work over this last week. Got this far. I just use this bag of floss to block it, so if you're wondering what that weird swatch is, it is not on the fabric, it's just the background. So I got almost all the border done. It's actually kind of funny. So I got to this area here on the border, just the rest of these little zigzags, and on my chart, the chart has holes punched in the bottom to hold the floss, which is absolutely genius for a retreat piece, right? I'll hold it up like this. So essentially, like, here's the chart, and then there's these holes punched in the bottom. So you can just put your floss right here, and you don't have to have floss drops or anything else, which totally genius. But I had only put a little bit of the whatever color DMC this dark brown is here on this, because this is like, as people needed a piece of floss to start the piece along with us, since they did sell out of these floss packs pretty quick, I was usually giving them a piece of the border because that's where most people were starting. So I ran out. Obviously I have more in this pack, but I didn't have the pack next to me where I was stitching, and I didn't feel like getting up to get it, you know, all of like 2 feet away. Plus, if I'm being perfectly honest, I was just bored of stitching the border. So the border will be stitched next time you see it. But until then, we are here. And instead I started stitching just a little bit of the dark green hat. So you can't really tell. I do have some extra lights on in here, but it's later in the day, so the sun isn't great. But this is a dark green here. So it's fun to get into the hat. This piece is going to get a lot of love in the month of October. So I have this piece slotted for my theme piece. Normally on the Magazine Monthly Challenge group, I try to use a magazine piece for the theme where I can, but I mean, pumpkins are just not my favorite thing to stitch. I'm just not huge into fall. I love to see everybody else's, I just don't personally love stitching it usually. So a lot of the pumpkin pieces that I was seeing, they just, I don't know, they didn't call to me. So I'm gonna use Ghost Pumpkin for that, because obviously pumpkin patch, that works out well. Then we have a pop-up challenge for the Magazine Monthly Challenge group. This year we're bringing back Oh My Gourd. I love that name. Oh My Gourd. So Oh My Gourd runs from October 13th, which is a Sunday, it should be if I wrote this down right, through the following Sunday, October 20th. And you have to stitch 5 hours or 500 stitches on some type of a piece that has a gourd. You don't have to stitch on the gourd, but it has to contain a gourd. So obviously a pumpkin is a gourd. There's other ones, but the most common one is a pumpkin. So I'm gonna use Ghost Pumpkin for both. So it will get, I do 4 hours for my theme piece, so 4 hours there, plus 5 hours for the pop-up challenge. So that's 9 hours of stitching in the month of October. As much as I like to say, I'm gonna finish this in 9 hours, I'm not. There's a lot of stitching that has to happen there, and it's a lot of white stitching, which I'm really slow with. So, but still, there will be a lot of progress made on that piece, including the finishing of the border. So that is everything that I worked on over this last week. So I made some decent progress on quite a few pieces, which I really loved, and I got some planning done. So plans for next month. I have the theme of Pumpkin Patch. Next month I'm only working on the acrostic and the theme, the pop-up challenge for Magazine Monthly Challenge. And then I'm also going to go back to doing the 25/7. I really enjoy that concept, and now that I'm stitching regularly, I think that I can do that for next month. So those are the only events or whatever that I'm really participating in next month. I normally like to do the Garan Designer of the Month, but I believe that in October, their designer is Lucy Beam, and I don't think I have anything by her. So I'll do a double check. If I do, I might incorporate that, you know, as something extra, but if not, then that's okay. So acrostic is Hayride. The theme is Pumpkin Patch. I already showed you Ghost Pumpkin, which is going to be the theme as well as the pop-up challenge. Then for the acrostic for Hayride, I have Witch's Hearth, which you've already seen. New Year in the Village will be the letter A for Alessandra Adelaide. Then I have, let's see, I took them out just to show you where I'm at, to show you what it will be. For the letter Y and for the letter E, I'm using, don't ask me how to say this because it's a French piece. Okay. I'm calling this the French Witch. I know I've showed this in an old video and someone told me what it means. I just don't remember. So the French Witch, which is this. So I'm using the letter Y because I started this years ago. Y for years. And when I say years, I mean years. I started it for Mania in 2020, 2019, something along those lines. Because it was a Mania piece, I literally did this much stitching. So this is like, I think it goes this way actually, one teeny tiny chunk of her dress. That is all that I have stitched. That's it. So I have lots to go. I might even have it here on this note. Here it is. So this is being stitched on a piece of 30 count Legacy linen in the color Pink Clay. I think I found this fabric at my local Goodwill, but originally it came from the Attic, which is our local needlework shop. I know that because they left the sticker on it. So yeah, so Pink Clay. I have that much done, lots to go. And it looks like I did some color conversions, which I actually wrote down. So I'm very proud of myself for that. So as I start working on this, I'll go through those. But again, this is the letter Y for years ago and the letter E for Eek because it's Halloweeny and it is a witch. And because sometimes you have to get creative if you really want to work on a piece and you're not sure where else to put it in your acrostic. Luckily, we allow all versions of acrostics in the group. No one is here to judge how you make something fit. The more creative you are, the better. So, the other thing that I have pulled out to work on for my acrostic next month for the letter I and D, so that'll pretty much complete Hayride, is another new start. And I'm waiting. I did a very small order from Garan. I needed one chart that I'm not going to start till I have something finished, but I have one new chart coming and I wanted to get the fancy floss that matched that chart because part of what really drew me to that chart was the colors. Normally I just stitch from stash, but in this case I did not want to sit there and try to match the colors because they were already perfectly done. So I'll use fabric from my own stash, but I have the fancy floss and the chart coming. And then I needed just a couple other floss colors, one that I had run out of on another piece, and then I'll show you this one. You all saw this last week, but I wanted to start Dirty Annie's I Love My Cat, which is this. And I pulled fabric from my stash, and then I did DMC or, you know, some type, whatever floss I had on hand for everything except for I wanted to get the called for this possum's fur, because I really like that like grayish brown, and I was just having a really hard time without seeing what was the called for color like in person. I didn't want to get the wrong shades for the possum because it just looks great. So I have those two on the way. They should be here any day. And once they're here, I'll finalize this kit, and this will come out for 2 letters. So it means it'll get 4 hours worth of work next month. So that is, I love my cat. One day this will be completed, and my husband has already stated he's going to put this up on his desk. So this will be his cross stitch piece for his desk. So it should start many a conversation. All right. Oh, for 25/7, I don't know why I didn't bring it, but for 25/7 piece, I'm going to work on Funky Bird because I want to get it finished, and I would like to get it up on the wall. So that you'll see that all throughout next month. So that is about it for plans. Haul, I don't have hardly anything. I did some Goodwill shopping. My daughter is trying to thrift together a cosplay costume. So we've been hitting the Goodwill. And while I was there, I found some dimensions kits, and well, a dimensions kit that is actually one that I'm going to start. So super amazing find. Check this thing out. I know it's got a big glare, but this is a Dimensions Gold Collection, Chickadees and Lilacs. I mean, seriously, like, I don't know when I'm going to start this or when I'm going to finish it, but I absolutely love chickadees. They're like a top 3 bird. Love these. The lilacs are pretty. The lilacs have a lot of backstitch. Let's see if you can, without zooming in on my pores here, but there's a ton of backstitch all through here, but it would be worth it. I'm just gonna have to do the backstitch as I go. Yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll start this for New Year, New Start. It's a biggie, but this on the bird wall is like, I don't know, it's gonna need like a place of honor or something. Or maybe this will go in the living room. I don't know, but let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? I need to start it and then I need to finish it. So who knows? But amazing find. I think I literally paid $1 for this at Goodwill. And it's fully sealed. Not gonna lie, the outside of this when I picked it up was disgusting, but it's sealed, the inside is fine. Washed it up, and I was extremely excited. So look forward to this at some point in 2025. Nuts. Okay, that's all I have. Hopefully you guys are having a great day. Hopefully, if you are anywhere down south, or I mean truly just, it seems like everywhere that is not Arizona is just getting hammered with horrible weather. So hopefully you are staying safe. Hopefully if you don't have power, hopefully you will get power soon. I've just been seeing so many things on the news that just make me so grateful that although it is stinking hot, like 113 degrees today, way hot. But you know what? I'm just very thankful that that is the extent of my weather gripe, because that's like nothing. So hopefully you all are staying safe. Hopefully this will pass, and hopefully you all are getting some great stitching time in today and throughout the next week. So you will not see me next week because again, I will be out of town. I'm sure I'll do some posting and things like that, but I will be stitching, and I'll be checking in when I can. So happy stitching, and I will see you all next time. Bye.